morning, my dear students. Well, in the previous classes, we were discussed about the sum chapter, and I also completed that chapter. So, in this class, we will start the new chapter, that is motion in one dimension. So, this chapter is related to both ICSE as well as state students. So, let's start the new chapter. So that is motion in one dimension. So before going to start this chapter, so I want to revise the topics. So which you already learned in the previous standards. So about physical quantities. Physical quantities are the quantities which can be measurable. For example, length of an object, the mass of an object, what is the surrounding temperature, means temperature is being a measurable quantity, so it is considered as the physical quantities. The height of a person, next the distance traveled by the body, the displacement covered by the body in a certain time. So all these quantities are being measurable, considered as physical quantities. So physical quantities are classified into two types. One is scalar quantity and the second one is vector quantity. Scalar and vector are the two types of physical quantity. So let me start with the scalar quantity. So the quantities which are expressed only by their magnitudes. So these quantities, they do not have any specific directions but have magnitudes. So with the help of that magnitude we can express some physical quantities. Such quantities are called as scalar quantities. For example, if we say that the mass of a body is 3 kg. Mass of a body is 3 kg. So what we express here? We express the mass of a body. So what I have written the statement here, it gives the complete meaning which represents the mass of that particular body. So it gives the complete meaning. This statement has a complete meaning. So which we use to express the mass of that particular body. So here this 3 kg gives us the magnitude of that particular body which represents the mass. So to express the scalar quantities we need two parameters. One is the unit in which the physical quantity is being measured. First one is the unit and second one is the numerical value. So to express scalar quantities we need these two parameters. And some physical quantities will be there, so like pi. So this is a pure number. It doesn't have any unit. The pure number like pi, it doesn't have any unit. So these scalar quantities can be added, subtracted, multiplied, and also can be divided with some arithmetic methods. And these scalar quantities can be represented by the English letter of that physical quantity. So now if I use the physical quantity mass, this mass is represented by an English letter of that physical quantity, that is m. And the time is represented by the letter t. So this is how we are going to express some scalar quantities. So if you see the examples for scalar quantities like length, mass, time, temperature, energy, power, work, etc. So what I have written here, the physical quantities. So all these physical quantities which can be expressed only by their magnitude. So for example, length. So length of an object is 3 meter. So which is expressed only by its magnitude. And mass, already I have written here, mass of the body is 3 kg. It is also expressed with its magnitude. So because these physical quantities, they do not have any particular direction, but they can be expressed only by their magnitude. So that's why all these quantities are considered as the example for scalar quantities. Now come to the second one is vector quantities. So vector quantities are the quantities which can be expressed by both magnitude as well as direction. So scalar quantities, they do not have any specific direction, but the vector quantities have that specific direction. So vector quantities are the quantities which are expressed by their magnitude as well as direction. For example, so if we say that displace a body 5 meter from its point. If you say like this means, so this statement doesn't give any complete meaning. So why? Because when I said like this, displace a body 5 meter from its point. So if I say like this, the first question will arise is, in which direction we have to displace that, right? So if you mention the direction in that statement, then it will give the complete meaning. So if I say like this, displace a body 5 meter from its initial position or from its point in east direction or in any other direction. So this statement gives the complete meaning. So then this is how the vector quantities are expressed. So to express the scalar quantities, we need two parameters, unit and numerical value. But to express the vector quantities, we need three parameters. First one is unit, second one is numerical value, and the third one is direction. So these are the three parameters we require to express the vector quantities. And some examples for vector quantities are velocity, displacement, acceleration, force, moment of force, etc. So these all quantities can be expressed by using these three parameters. So velocity has a specific direction, displacement, acceleration, whatever the examples I have written here. So all these quantities are expressed by using these three parameters. So vector quantities are expressed by both their magnitude as well as what? The direction. So next, these vector quantities being measurable quantities, and these are always positive or negative. It means, suppose if you represent the force, so this is the letter which we use to represent the force. See here, force, it is a vector quantity, you know already, right? So this force is having a particular direction. So that direction is represented by an arrow mark. So this is how the vector quantities are represented. So velocity. So this is how velocity can be represented. So what this arrow mark represents? The direction of that physical quantities. In which direction those physical quantities are moving, or those physical quantities are actually exerting. So vector quantities are the quantities which are expressed only by their magnitudes as well as direction. And again, these vector quantities can be added, subtracted, multiplied, and as well as can be divided by using simple arithmetic methods. See, the scalar quantities being measurable quantities, they are always positive. So vector quantities. So vector quantities, either it can be negative or positive. So if the force is represented like this, it is acting in one particular direction. If we mention or that force is having a negative sign, then this represents the force is acting in opposite direction. So vector quantities may be positive or negative. So the negative, the physical quantities which consist of a negative sign, which represents it is acting in opposite direction. So this is all about the scalar and vector quantities. So next one is about the motion, rest and motion. Each and every object in this universe is in a state of motion. So we see many bodies which are moving in our surroundings. For example, people are walking, moving vehicles, the movement of animals, the flying of birds. So all these are in a state of motion. So what about Earth? Earth is revolving around the sun, means it is also in a state of motion. So then what about Sun? It is also in a state of motion. So it is moving around the center of galaxy. Then what about galaxy? Galaxies are two. They are also in a state of motion. So here all the objects in this universe, they are in a state of motion. But sometimes we will say that by seeing some object, that object is in a state of rest. So suppose for example, consider this blackboard. So this board, if you see this blackboard means we will say that it is in a state of rest. So already we learned that, we know that all the objects in this universe, they are in a state of motion. But by seeing some objects on the Earth's surface, we will say that that object is in a state of rest. When we will say that the body is in a state of rest. So here if you want to say that this body is in a state of rest means this object does not changes its position with respect to us. So now I am standing here, right? So this is the board. Its position is not changes with respect to me. So if I see the board like this, its position is not changing, right? So that's why this board is in a state of rest. So I am standing here. So if I will not change my position, then I will be in a state of rest with respect to the surroundings. So rest is defined as the position of an object does not changes with respect to the surroundings. Then we will say that the body is in a state of rest. Then when we will say that the body is in a state of motion, which is exactly opposite to the rest. When we say that the body is in a state of motion, if its position is changes with respect to the surroundings continuously, then we will say that the body is in a state of motion. So in this chapter, we are going to study about the motion in only one dimension. So then, what is one dimensional motion? One dimensional motion. If your body is moving in a straight line path, then it is called as one dimensional motion, or sometimes it is called as straight line motion, or also rectilinear motion. So what do you mean by one dimensional motion? If your body is moving in one straight line path, that is called as one dimensional motion. So if a body covered a distance, so this distance covered by the body is always greater than its size. So now consider it's a point object, so its size is very small. So at a certain interval of time, it covers some distance. So whatever the distance covered by this point object is always greater than its size. So understood what I mean by one dimensional motion? If a body travels in one particular direction or in a straight line path, that is called as a one dimensional motion. So now let us see how to represent this one dimensional motion. A representation of one dimensional motion. See, the path of the one dimensional motion covered by the body is represented by a straight line parallel to the x-axis. So the path of one dimensional motion of the body is represented by a straight line which is parallel to the x-axis if the x-axis is taken along the direction of motion of the body. See, now in this direction the body is moving. If the x-axis is taken along the motion of the body, then we will get one straight line. So this is how we can represent the one dimensional motion of a body. So here the different points on this straight line, represents the position of the body at a different interval of time. So just consider an example. If you drop a stone from a certain height towards the ground, so then the body will starts to move in vertically downward direction. So now its position at a certain interval of time is represented by different points on the straight line at a different interval of time. So this is how we can represent the one dimensional motion. So for example, consider so along x-axis, the time at the time interval of 0, the position of the body is 0, means it is initially at rest. So now this chalkpiece is initially at a rest at the time interval of 0. So when I start to release, it is started to move vertically downwards. So at the time, after 2 seconds, so the position of the body at a distance of 2 meter, and after 4 seconds 4 meter, after 6 seconds 6 meter. So by using a proper scale along x-axis, we can represent the one-dimensional motion. So this is how we are going to represent the one-dimensional motion of a body. So one-dimensional motion of a body is represented by a straight line parallel to the principal axis, so parallel to the x-axis, and if the x-axis is taken along the direction of motion. So next topic is about the distance and displacement. So distance and displacement. So consider a body which is traveling from point A to point B in a curved path. So this is the curved path. Now that body is moving from point A to point B in a curved path. So the distance is considered according to this diagram as the path or the length of the path covered by the body from point A to point B. So where point A is the initial position and point B is the final position of the body. So the length of the path covered by the body is called as distance, and while the length of the straight line from point A to point B is considered as displacement. So distance is defined as the length of the path covered by from initial position to final position, and while the displacement is defined as the shortest distance between the initial position and final position. So here the distance is the scalar quantity. Distance is scalar quantity. It means it can be represented only by its magnitude. So it doesn't have any specific direction. While the displacement is a vector quantity. Why? Because the displacement has a specific direction. That's why the displacement is considered as vector quantity and distance is the scalar quantity. So now let us see how to represent the displacement of a body. A representation of displacement. So you know already displacement being a vector quantity, it is expressed with both magnitude as well as direction. So displacement is represented by a symbol S with an arrow mark, right? So S is the displacement and its direction is represented by an arrow mark. And here, remember, the displacement is a vector quantity, and it means that displacement covered by the body in one particular direction. So just you assume when a body displaces a 5 meter in west direction, So it is the initial position of the body and it displaces 5 meter in east direction. So you know already the directions east, west, north, south. Now this is the initial position of the body and it is displaces in the east direction. So how much distance it is covered in the east direction? That is 5 meter. So now this is the displacement. So here displacement is represented by the straight line with an arrow mark. So this is how we are going to represent the displacement covered by the body. So it is the A is the initial position and what the arrow mark I have drawn here, it represents the direction of that body. Means that body is traveling, means that body covers a displacement in east direction. So now these points represents the displacement covered by the body at a certain interval of time. So these points represent the different position of a body at different instants or at a different interval of time. So this is how we are going to represent the displacement. Understood what you mean by distance and displacement? So distance is a scalar quantity. It is defined as the length of the path covered by the body, and displacement being a vector quantity, it is defined as the shortest distance between initial position and final position of the body. So that is called as the displacement. So this is how we are going to represent the displacement of the body. So now let us see some differences between distance and displacement. The first difference is the magnitude of a displacement is equal or less than that of the distance. So magnitude of the displacement is equal or less than that of the magnitude of distance. See, if a body moves in a particular direction, suppose say A is the initial position. If a body is moving in a straight line path in a one fixed direction, so then B is the final position of the body. So in this case, the magnitude, so this is the path in which the body has traveled. So the path, the length of the path covered by a body is called distance. The shortest distance between initial position and final position is called as displacement. So here when a body moving in a straight line path, the magnitude of a displacement and the magnitude of distance both are equal. So here the distance between these two is 5 meters. So what is the distance in this case? 5 meters. And what about the displacement? Means the shortest distance between initial position and final position, that is same. Displacement is also 5 meters. Means when does the distance, magnitude of distance and magnitude of displacement are equal? When a body is moving in straight line path, then the magnitude of distance and displacement are equal. Suppose if a body now it is the path in which the body is traveled from the initial point to final point. The now length of the path covered by this body from point A to point B is the distance covered by that body. And if you draw a dotted line here, this represents the shortest distance between initial point and the final point. Here, if you see or if you compare the magnitude of distance and displacement, which one is greater here? Obviously, the magnitude of the distance is greater than the magnitude of the displacement. It means what I written here, magnitude of displacement is equal or less than that of the magnitude of distance. So the magnitude of the displacement can never be greater than magnitude of distance. Magnitude of displacement is always less or it is equals to the magnitude of distance. Suppose consider it is the initial position. Here if the body is displaces first in each direction 3 meter, and from this point the body is again covers a displacement of about distance of about 4 meters. So this is the initial position. From initial position to this point, the distance between OA is 3 meter and the distance between AB is 4 meters. So what is the total distance covered by body here? Total distance is OA plus AB. That is 3 meters plus 4 meters. It is 7 meters. 7 meters is the total distance covered by the body. Then what about displacement? So what is displacement? It is the shortest distance covered by the body from initial position to final position. So here final position is the point B and initial position is represented by point O. So what is the shortest distance between these 2 points? Displacement of the body from point O to B is 5 meters. How? According to the Pythagoras theorem, OB square is equal to square root of OA square plus AB square. What is OA square? That is B square plus AB square is 4 square. So 9 plus 16. So that is 25 is 5 meters. So the displacement of a body from point O to B is 5 meters. So this is about the first difference between displacement and distance. What is that? Magnitude of displacement is equal or less than that of the magnitude of distance. So what is the magnitude of distance here? 7 meter, and what is the magnitude of displacement? 5 meter. This is always less than the magnitude of the distance. Distance is always positive and displacement is positive or negative, depends on direction of motion of the body. So what I write in the second point, distance is always positive. So the length of the path covered by a body is always positive. So if I cover a distance from this point to that point, now I covered a nearly 50 centimeter distance from the initial point to final point. So now in this case, the distance covered by the body is always positive. It doesn't be negative. But if I travel to the same point, then the displacement covered by the body is 0 here. So I will come to that topic in next point. So here, if a body is traversing opposite direction, then at that time the displacement is considered as negative. If a body displaces in particular direction, then the displacement is positive. So the displacement may be positive or negative. It depends on the direction of motion of the body. But the distance is always positive. So next point is displacement can be 0 even when distance is not 0. See, try to understand this statement. Displacement can be 0 even when a distance is not 0. Consider a body moving in a circular path. So this is the initial position of the body, and it is moving in a circular path and it reaches its original position again. So in this case, the length of the path covered by the body is equals to, what is the circumference of circle? That is 2 pi r. So this is the distance covered by the body when it is moving in a circular path. Then what about the displacement? So here the body traversing circular path and again it reaches its original position. Means what is the shortest distance between initial position and final position? So initial position is the point A and the final position is also the point A. So then being the initial position and final position are same here. So the displacement of that body is 0. So when a distance is not 0, displacement can be 0. So when the displacement of an object becomes 0, when the body is moving in circular path, or you can also say like this: when the initial position and final position of the bodies are same, then the displacement of that body is 0. So this is the other definition. So these are the differences between distance and displacement. So in the next class, we will discuss about the speed, average speed, velocity and acceleration due to gravity.